It's a new week. I got a new studio, Anthony, and a new attitude.
I can't wait to hear about your new studio. All right, let's go. So,
Anthony, great to see you.
Studio, Glenn.
Yeah, so this is pretty awesome. I finally, we've been doing all of these shows from here for all of these months, and I finally got my act together to build something that's more permanent since we're doing so many broadcasts out of here. And what I really love about it is I can get really crazy and bang on the table, and it won't affect my camera because I got that separated, and I've got all sorts of new lights. But I also built this green screen wall behind me, so I don't have to worry about felt anymore. It's just cool chroma key green paint.
Can we get a one shot of what's on that wall?
Well, yeah, I got to so
move out of the way. Move out of the way.
All right, so that's for today, because as you guys know, out there we're changing the background every day. And if you want your hotel, for example, featured here on our show, one day drop me a note, Glenn@rouse.media, ROUSE.media, and I'd love to be able to feature you on the show. Anthony, did you rest up this weekend after that long Vegas trip?
I did. I did a lot of mobility exercising because sitting down for a week, basically on a plane and at a poker table and in meetings, I needed to open up my hips, Glenn, and I feel opened up and I feel good and I feel great. My eyes still bother me, so I'm going back to the doctor today. I think it's reinfected, so that's why I look a little tired. I'm not tired, but anyway.
Well, so, I'm tired, but I don't look tired this morning. And just so you guys
you look
know,
good. You look good. I like the shirt. I like the background. You're finally bringing it all together, brother.
Finally, we do this show another couple of years, and I might really I might perfect it. Now, before we get going, I want to thank the good folks over at Eco Technology for the Eco Bin, a great cost-saving solution for in the guest room that keeps people happy. Anthony, it's really inexpensive. Did you know that the Eco Bin is so cool that it actually costs less to just replace it every once in a while than it is to have somebody go and empty it and do all of that. So it's really easy.
I'll go through that in a second, but I'm going to count how long it takes you to put this basket together. Put them on the one shot, David. Put them on the one shot.
All right, so we got this here.
And go.
Go. So I'm doing this.
Hello, how are you? My name is Anthony. And I don't know where Glenn went, but are we still live? We are. David, what happened? We lost Glenn. I think Glenn, with his fancy equipment and all his fancy stuff, that he probably knocked out his entire studio. So what he was talking about was an Eco Technology basket. So what I do is I use this all around my home. And if I had my own hotel, which right now we don't have a hotel, but if I had my own hotel, I would use this in every single room. And what you do is once you make the basket is you fill it up and then you can just dispose of it.
All right. I got so excited building the thing, I accidentally kicked myself out of the studio. I can't believe that. But it took 2 seconds. It was really easy to do. And I got to tell you, Anthony, I've started using this at home. We've been having a lot of problem with our recycling bins, trying to figure out a great system, and this works perfectly for our paper products as well. So think about that translated to a guest room and having something that's a quick and easy, inexpensive solution there as well.
And you don't have to clean it every time. It takes a few minutes for the young lady or young man to clean that basket. Now you can just dispose of that basket. You can empty out the trash and fold up the cardboard, and then you're done. And I think it's a great, and I'm using it around my house. Matter of fact, I'll tell you something that happened this morning.
Yeah.
I told my daughter, hey, I got to go because I got to go upstairs and I got to do the show. And I was holding it and she goes, what is that? And I told her, she goes, oh, can I have one? And then my wife goes, can I have one? So now I need more. So if anybody's listening, please send me more. So it's great in whether it be an office building, whether it be at home or whether it be in a hotel. You don't have to use plastic bags. You don't have to clean the basket. It's fast, it's easy, it's inexpensive, and you're helping the environment.
Right, and great messaging to send your guests as well. All right, so we're going to have a regular monthly feature, Anthony. We're going to be
With
bringing
who?
in
With
with
who? With who?
with the world's greatest concierge, Sarah Dandashy.
Oh,
Let's
I
bring
don't like
her.
her. She's gonna be on the show. I don't like her.
Yeah, man. I don't know what we were thinking. Incredible lack of judgment on
You got
Sarah's
it.
part for agreeing to do this with us.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well,
All right,
not only I like her, I love her. She's one of my favorite people in the entire world. She knows that.
Anthony, that means a lot coming from you. It's too early for this type of emotion.
But you know what? Your lighting is great. His lighting's great. My lighting sucks. I look tired. What's going on with me? I'm the guy who's supposed to look the best. I got a TV show.
You didn't turn on your ring light. Come on.
No, I don't want to deal. I was dealing with all of it. Like I was saying off camera, it's, our house is full, right? And our kids are working from home, one of them, and my other two come back from college, and it's noisy. So as much as I want to build a studio, I just can't, because it's too noisy in my house. But I'm jealous of Glenn's.
Well, that's okay. It's good to be jealous of me. Nobody wants to hang out with me anyway, so I got my own space here in this house.
Glenn, I do like hanging out with you. We're talking about hanging out. Did I tell you when I was in Vegas last week? I was telling you off. I know we only got 10 minutes with Sarah, so we're going to introduce Sarah's segment. But I had a guy throw a poker chip at me because I took all his chips, and he didn't like that I went in with 8-6 and I got a full house on the river. But anyway, he threw a chip at me, Sarah, and all I did was laugh at him. I was a gentleman.
That's all you did. Well,
That's
what
what
else are you going to do?
I would take the chip and go out to dinner.
That was my old days. What I do. You get up and you punch him in the face. He threw a chip at you.
No. Now it's not the climate for that.
No, there's not the time. And plus not in the casino. So next time you're on, I promise you, we're going to have an introduction. So what are we calling this monthly feature with Sarah?
This is a work in progress, Anthony.
So let's come up with a name. What are we talking about, Sarah, on your monthly feature?
Well, so a background for those that might be following me. I have been sharing hospitality and travel updates on my page. And so we decided to go ahead and collaborate, and I can share interesting hospitality and travel insights with all of you. And one of the reasons why I ended up starting to do this was so that, because right now everything is so uncertain, and the best way is to just really keep ourselves informed to have a better idea as far as the future. So that's kind of the background on this. But
I think Traveler's Insight is what we're going to call it. We're going to do a monthly corner, and so talk through your 4 or 5 tips that we have for travelers.
Yes, and then we got to come up with a better name. I like alliteration, so I'm going to try to come up with something.
Oh, perfect. I love it. Work in progress. Okay. Yeah. Well, something super interesting that just happened last week, and it seems that Amazon might be a little bit inspired by Airbnb. Amazon just launched a new service called Amazon Explore. So you could actually log onto your Amazon page, and you would be able to book live and virtual experiences led by local experts. Now, these experiences are going to be focused on creativity, do-it-yourself skills, even doing virtual tours of far-off places and cultural landmarks. So it's definitely a really interesting move by Amazon, and we'll see how it ends up taking off.
Do you think it's their first step into being a third-party website?
Maybe, but it's a bold move for them. And also, look, we see Amazon is always trying to do different things. We saw what they were trying to do as far as Amazon Books, so doing bookstores, and you can argue how successful it's been.
Wait, they're trying to do bookstores?
Oh, yeah, Amazon.
That's hysterical for a company that started on the point of doing books online. That's hysterical.
Exactly. So this is a curious play. I mean, I think they're just kind of trying to take advantage to be a one-stop shop for everybody that's at home, because already everybody is on Amazon buying things, ordering things, and all of that. And so now they're like, cool, now that we have a captive audience, maybe we can tap into the travel element while people aren't able to actually travel.
So Sarah, you taught us something, and I'm going to predict something. 6 months from now, you will start seeing Amazon make a footing into third-party website. It only makes sense. I buy everything from Amazon. I'm on Amazon at least once, twice, 3 times, 100 times a day.
Yep.
If there's not a package coming to my house every single day, everybody says, is Anthony dead? So where would I want to book my travel? I would want to book my travel on Amazon. I would. Like, if you're asking me as a customer, I want to. I'm going to, matter of fact, what is it called? Amazon Insights?
Amazon Explore.
I'm going to look at it, and I'm probably going to start, when I travel, I'm probably going to start using it. I want simple. And I know people say, hey, Amazon's getting too big, but I think they should do it. And I think it's smart. What's your second thing there?
Okay,
Sarah?
cool. So
I would just say I'm going to continue to book direct to help out my my hotel.
Agreed.
I will book directly. I will book directly with all the hotels, I promise. But I will use it. I will use it
Nice.
for references and for information.
Beautiful. Excellent. Sarah, story number 2.
Cool. Okay, so Airbnb has announced that they are not going to be allowing one-night bookings over Halloween weekend. Typically, you could always just book a single night booking with Airbnb, but basically in an effort to prevent large gatherings and parties, especially this year, they're going to be rolling this out throughout the US and Canada. And if there were any pre-existing one-night bookings, they are going ahead and they're canceling them. So interesting move on Airbnb's part, but I
like it. I like it. I
smart.
don't like when they say they're not a hotel company, a technology company. When they make moves like that, they prove that they're more of a hotel lodging company than they are a technology company, because that's what a lot of lodging companies would do or should do. I think it's a good move. I think it's smart. I think if I'm an Airbnb owner, I'm pissed off for a second, but at the end, I probably thank them.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here.
Hey, look at her. She's a host and a visitor. She's like hosting her own show. Go, Sarah.
I know, it's great. I don't really feel like working too hard today, so this is awesome.
You can go ahead.
I'm just trying to keep it short for you guys, okay? I don't want to overstay my
wait, did she just call me short?
No, that was last
time.
No, she was about to. But definitely. Anyway, Sarah, last story.
Okay.
So let's go to our third tip.
Okay, cool. So our last story here. So hotel unemployment is down since April. So that's a good thing. That basically means more people are being employed by hotels. But how does that compare to the national number? Okay, so let's take a look at the actual numbers on this. I'm a numbers person. So U.S. hotel unemployment was 29.9% in September, which is a nearly 20-point improvement from the 48.9% in April. So to break that down for you, in April, the unemployment in the hotel space was 48.9%. And now in September, it's only 29.9% just in September. But what's interesting is you look at the whole national number. The national number for unemployment is 7.9% for September. So there is a huge gap between the national unemployment number and what we're seeing just in hotels. So we still have a long way to go, but it is showing that we definitely have improved quite a bit since April.
Yeah,
So,
basically,
people who are
between 1 in 3 and 1 in 4 people are out of work in the hotel business. And now that September's coming and the cold weather's coming, and you're seeing all this warm weather on the East Coast, going to change the dynamic, and people aren't going to be going to the beaches. People aren't going to be traveling as much. And we don't have the corporate business, we don't have the convention business, but we did see some interesting things when we were in Vegas. And matter of fact, Glenn is going to reference our show. If you want to hear the great, interesting things they're doing out in Vegas to make everybody feel safe to come back to conventions, Glenn, what are they doing?
They've got a whole plan that's set up to keep people. Was Convene with Confidence, I believe the name is. What I really love about it is they've really taken a lot of proactive measures to put into place so you can have your meetings and make sure that everybody is physically distanced, and have great new food and beverage programs, all designed to keep people productive while feeling safe at the same time.
Basically, they're going to be able to test you, and in 15 minutes know if you can enter the conference. And also, they're coming up. There's a technology out there, and hopefully that is going to be introduced within, I'm not going to give a time frame, but hopefully sooner rather than later, that they basically do a breathalyzer and know in 15 seconds if you've been infected. And it's not like, well, you have an incubation period. They'll know within 15 seconds if you've been exposed in the last 6 hours to COVID. So I think that will really help us get back to work.
Sarah, when it comes to the unemployment numbers that you were talking about, if a hotel is closed, do those people count as unemployed, or do they go into some sort of different category?
No, they are unemployed. So that definitely includes that. So I mean, obviously, it shows that we do have a long way to go, and it will be interesting to see as far as what happens over the next couple of months, because with talks of a second wave, I mean, we are seeing that already in parts of Europe as well too. So kind of hoping for
in New York, I hate to tell you this, but in New York, they just closed as of Wednesday this week. They're closing 9 zip codes. So basically, we're going back to stage 1. Gyms, restaurants, and schools will be closed in those 9 areas. and those areas are somewhat religious areas. So everybody's congregating, still going to their religious services. I
will be the one to say this: the ultra Orthodox Jews, and since I'm a Jewish guy, I feel like I could say this without being scrutinized too much. They're simply not following the rules. They're being disrespectful. They're not doing their part to make sure greater society is being helpful.
Yeah, but before you go off, let me hold on. I don't want to. It's yes, those communities, but also there's other communities. So out of 20 zip codes, 9 of them are going hard down. I'm really happy mine isn't going down. My wife, who's working from home, her school is going down in Bensonhurst, but she's working from home anyway, so it won't affect her. But and they just opened up again for kids to go in school, and it's not the schools. The schools are fine; they're not seeing elevated numbers in the schools, so to speak. But it's the communities. So I think it's a smart thing to do, but it's really, really upsetting. So we haven't been through this. Look, the president got it, so we still have to be careful. All right, what else?
That's it. We got to go. We got to bring on Bill.
You got to go. Exactly.
That's
it for today. So we'll cover more stuff next time. But thank you guys for having me on.
Hey, Sarah, thank you so much.
Maybe next time we give you a little bit more time because I want to talk through some of these things. What I think is really important is that we give consumers because this is on my Facebook page too. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my people, I have 60,000 followers on Facebook. They're not in the business. They just like the show and they travel. Mm-hmm. So they listen, and I would really like to bring more insight. So maybe we give you a lot more than 10 minutes, and we give you a half hour, and we just talk about whatever's on your mind, and it gives us at least 7 or 8 minutes to give you crap. So
cool. Oh, perfect.
Which is important because I feel like we did not have enough time.
Not enough.
And as I say all the time, I'm so proud of you, my friend. Keep kicking ass.
You're the best. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your show.
See you next time. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm excited about this next segment because we got Bill Walsh, CEO of Viceroy Hotels. I had a chance to speak to him on the No Vacancy podcast with Glenn Hausman before we switched over to this format 2 Decembers ago. The thing that I came with from him was what an incredible leader he is. So let's bring him on right now. Bill Walsh, fantastic to see you again, sir. I wish we were together at Napa like last time, but it's so great to have you on air with us. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's a privilege to be here. And, shout out to the people of Napa. We had a great time there. They're going through some extreme difficulties at the moment. And it's like, what more can 2020 bring them? So to all of our industry colleagues in Napa, stay strong, stay positive. We're shoulder to shoulder with you, and hopefully things improve very quickly.
So, yes. Bill, me and you have been friends on social media for quite a number of years now, and we've never met. Is that amazing?
I know. It's like, we both do a lot of public speaking, and on the circuit, I'm known as your warm-up guy. So I'm first and I'm cheaper. And normally, because you stars, you don't show up until like a couple of seconds before you take the stage.
Right.
And the warm-up folks have exited the building at that stage. But being in proximity is something that's me feel.
So Bill, welcome to my world. We have a lot more in common than I realized.
No, but it's been a pleasure. And it's funny. I was going to say, I didn't realize that. I was going to say, I keep missing you. I'm like, he's here. Where is he? He left. But I have a very regimented way I go about it because I just like to bring all my energy. But we actually, my assistant just booked a keynote online, which I haven't done a real full keynote. I've done Q&As, I've done Zooms, and that I've been paid for, but I have not done a full blown keynote. So we just booked one today. And, to all my keynote people out there is like, listen, this is tough times. But you're in demand, and we need Bill, and we need Glenn, and we need myself and other people talking about this industry to really help people get through. What I wouldn't do is I wouldn't do a lot of this stuff for free. Now, let me be clear. We're doing a lot of content for free. I'm doing a lot of webinars for free. But when it comes to a corporation and they're doing something for their team, that is something that they should pay for. And because again, there's a business. We are keynote speakers. That's one part of my business. I have 5 different businesses. That's one part of my business. And I kept it closed up until now simply because I'm willing to do a lot of stuff for free. I'm not willing to do something for a corporation that is doing it for their team. That's something that we have to help each other. And that's one way for them to help people that are out on the circuit, especially people that do this full time that need that income. So I think it's really critical And first of all, Bill, hopefully you and I can do one together, and it'd be a lot better than when I do it with Glenn. He's not that good.
Hey, Bill, before you make fun of me as well, if you could turn up your volume a little bit, if there's a way to do that. We're getting a little reports and we can't hear you as loud as our voices are. But I will say, Anthony, talking about doing keynotes, it was so exciting for me last week to be in person doing an actual speech. The positive energy I think came with that is really very good for all of us. So, Bill, do you how are you seeing business by you when it comes to this sort of category?
Look,
hey, that's better.
You can hear me now?
It's a little bit better. Yeah.
All right, great. Hey, I was doing that while you were asking the question. Just give me that
Oh
one.
yeah, I know. Here's a question for you. Let me switch topics a little bit. You're an incredible leader. I'm really blown away by how you're able to engage your teammates. What has this situation been for you in terms of pushing your skill set as a leader and keeping people engaged?
Look, one of the things that I think about leadership is I liken it to a satellite navigation system in a car. Now, as a leader, you're helping people go from A to B, right? You know what the destination is. And like in a sat nav, in a car, you input the destination and it runs in the background. And sometimes you hit an unexpected obstacle on the journey. And what you have to do is you have to recalculate how you're going to get to your destination, but the destination doesn't change. And I think when we find ourselves in any unexpected circumstance, and clearly this pandemic is one of the most severe examples of that, as leaders, we need to focus on the purpose of our organizations. We need to focus on our intention, and we need to focus on making people proud. And you know what? In pandemic, out of pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, that doesn't change. And I think that what I'm seeing effective leaders in the industry do is recognize that they can control what they can control, and we should control those things. But so much of the circumstance that we're facing at the moment is outside of our control. And it's about reacting. It's about reacting with positivity. It's about reacting with honesty. It's about continuing to communicate with teams. You can't over communicate with people at the moment. And most importantly, Glenn, I think it's about having a safe place to go. In Viceroy's case, and that's our ideology. It is the cultural platform upon which our purpose is built. It's the lens through which we have always seen hospitality. And right now, more than ever, being hosts first and always, being thoughtful in the detail, creating sensation, creating inspiration, creating wealth, all of those things that are spoken to in our ideology are still extremely important. We're just having to interpret them in a different way. So for me, leadership is leadership. The circumstances that you're leading through will dictate some of the day-to-day actions, but style, purpose, and intention should remain constant.
Yeah, one of the things that I truly believe in when it comes to management or leadership, I never called myself a leader because to me, if you turn around, nobody's following you, you're not a leader. So, but for people out there that are leaders in that running their businesses and running their organizations like you are, the most important thing is when you're leading in the good times and you're leading in the bad times, it's the same type of leadership. You're there to take care of your people. You're there to ensure your people are safe. What happens with bad leaders is when things are going good, they're reaping the benefits. They're reaping, listen, if I'm running a really big hotel and everything's great, I mean, I'm probably leaving earlier. I'm probably not working on the weekends, and my life is a little bit easier. I don't do that. I don't work weekends, but I still work hard. I work 18 hours a day, whatever I have to do, because now I'm just double downing on how can I make my employees' life easier? How can I give them the benefits of everything that is coming into the business? How can I make them not only more productive, but how can I incentivize them to make them even more money? So I think what happens is on times like this, people are like, oh my God, I'm busier now than ever. I've always run my businesses like I'm going out of business. And I think that's what leadership, we get too comfortable. And that's why when they say the Ivy Tower, we get too comfortable in our Ivy Towers. And so to me, to your point, I think it's a great point. It's the first time I've heard somebody say that, is there's no pivoting. A leader's a leader's a leader. Bad times are good times. You just have to do different things.
Yeah, and look, and remember who we're doing it for. The absolute tragedy of this situation, and you guys alluded to it earlier, where we have less than 4 out of 10 people back in employment and hospitality. And many people who are back in employment are doing so either on reduced hours or perhaps on reduced pay, reduced gratuities, whatever the circumstance might be. And the unpredictability, the instability of the situation is crazy. Anthony, you talked about New York making the decision at the weekend, communicating that restaurants will shut on Wednesday. So all of the people who work in those restaurants now have to replan their finances from Wednesday forward, because the income that they thought they would have, they would no longer have. I recall at the beginning of the pandemic, as soon as we shut down here at Viceroy, the very first meeting we convened was one called Pole Position. And it was about being in pole position, like a race car on a grid, to get back into the market as fast as we could, in order to try to create circumstances where we could welcome as many colleagues back to employment, because that's our obligation to them. And, you know, one of the things that I think is also not spoken about enough is we all focus and wish each other good health. And we interpret good health to be, you know, wear your mask, physical distance, and do all of the right things. And we're creating those circumstances in our hotels and those new processes. I think the mental health impact on the hospitality industry is extraordinary. And I think it's something that is going to affect us for a long time going forward. I think the levels of stress, the immediacy of the impact of shutdown was mind-blowing. I think the fear that people have, driven from uncertainty at the beginning, because suddenly we all learned this new word, furlough, and our colleagues got furloughed. Does that mean I'm coming back? Am I not coming back? Can I spend money? Should I not spend money? Oh, look, I got a check from the government. Do I go on Amazon and buy that new TV because it'll all be okay soon? And then furlough went to layoff.
Right.
Some people in our industry, this is the first time in their lives that they have not been able to work in an industry that is the largest employer in the world. So yeah, let's focus on physical health. Let's keep doing all of those right things, but let's recognize that conversations need to be had with our colleagues. It's like in a family. If you're having an issue, talk about it. And I think vulnerability is something that we as leaders should not be afraid to show. The greatest demonstration of courage is asking for help, and we should be doing that of each other. And I think maintaining contact with people and helping them stay balanced and positive, mentally healthy as well as physically healthy, is a huge obligation that we have right now.
Yeah, and I can't agree with you more. And I think if you're in a big hotel, you know, we have, everybody has policies like, well, if you need mental health services, we can provide them for you. Here's a number. I think we need to go further after this, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are having post-traumatic stress disorder. And I think that we have to do something that's a little bit more in the forefront in human resources, where there's somebody there and that's their job title, whatever their job title, it could be mental health manager, whatever it is. And I think it is so important to really put that in the forefront. Also, what's important when you talk about health, mental health and physical health, is taking your vitamin D, taking your zinc, taking your iron, making sure you're doing something, you're eating well. So if you do, God forbid, get sick, you have at least a system that's going to do everything it can to prevent it. 80% of all people that had COVID had vitamin D deficiency. So we're not talking enough about stuff like that.
Well, one of the things that tomorrow,
just let me finish this thought. Also, there's two types of people, like you said. It's the person that is going through this, like all of us are, and that's very stressful. And there's the person that's not getting a paycheck. And that is a whole nother level of stress, because they may lose their house, they may lose their car, they may lose their kids' college education. And so that is about as stressful as death when you're going to lose everything you built up. I can't imagine, you know, not being able to put milk on the table for my family. And you're right. These are going to be serious, serious implications that we as an industry have to start talking about. We're actually going to have somebody on our show very soon talking about
that. Tomorrow, Dr. Erin Berman from the National Institute of Mental Health, where she's a clinical psychologist, is going to be talking about all of these issues. So a very, very important show for all of us coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off before, Glenn. Did you have a question?
I was trying to get in that plug about tomorrow's show because it was directly related to mental health. You know, Bill, so you're dealing with a lot in like Chicago, for example, right? You've probably had tremendous furloughs that have turned into layoffs. How are you negotiating that part of your business versus, I'm hoping, places like Los Cabos, for example, are probably able to retain a higher percentage of guests?
Yeah, I mean, we're clearly seeing that the resort locations are stabilizing faster than urban locations. And I think, shout out to not only our team at Viceroy Chicago and all of the Viceroy urban locations, but industry colleagues in all urban locations. We're all having to do things differently, more efficiently, do more with less. I can't tell you the number of conversations with general managers that I've had in recent months where they have to pause, put me on hold because they're checking a guest in, or because they're picking up somebody's bag, whatever it might be. So the multitasking that I'm seeing happening is extraordinary. But yeah, and some of the resort locations, I think, are actually doing okay. Viceroy Snowmass, for example, had a decent summer. People are enjoying going to drive-to locations where they feel safe in the open air. Being on top of a mountain, windy conditions is creating conditions that people feel confident and comfortable to be in. If you're in a beach location, it is easy to socially distance. If it's a large beach, you can sit apart from other people. And then you look at a city like San Francisco, and I have such immense respect for all of my colleagues in San Francisco, because that city is being beaten up. It is so dependent on citywide convention business. It's dependent upon large group movements. We're not going to see that come back for some considerable length of time, and there are a lot of rooms in the market. So the way we react in one destination is very different from what. There isn't a playbook that you can apply across a portfolio. It very much is an approach based on individuality, reacting to those circumstances.
And I bet if you're a skier like I am, you're going to ski a lot this winter. I know I am. I'm going to go skiing every time I have a second. I'm going. I'll drive and I'll go to Vermont and I'm going to ski and I'm going to go to my land. Listen, you're wearing face covering anyway. You're wearing, when I ski, I wear face covering anyway. And I would imagine that the ski resorts are going to do pretty well this year because of that, just kind of like the beach resorts. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I think so, because I think people, people are going skiing in family groups. Then you're on the chairlift with your family. Once you get on the mountain, you get off the lift, you can ski in a different direction from everybody else. There's plenty of room. As you say, it's almost like you're wearing PPE anyway as you're coming down the mountain. And it just feels out in the fresh air. It's like, golf is another great pandemic sport. It's people are out, you're walking, you're getting exercise, getting those 10, 12,000 steps in. It's easy to remain socially distant. If you play like I play, you're socially distant because they're over here, we're over there. So I think we're going to see anything that has wide open spaces do particularly well. Anything that requires confinement. I have a number of friends who are musicians, some on the local scene and some globally known. They don't know when they're going to work again.
Right.
And because, you look at, I heard you guys talking about Vegas earlier, and I know they'll be very creative at the way they bring that destination back. But look at nightclubs. I mean, their whole business model is to pay a DJ $500,000 or more.
Yep.
And to do that, you need 5,000-6,000 people crowded into a room. How long is it going to be before that happens again? I would say some considerable time.
Yeah, but let me look at this as let me talk about a positive for a second. You're talking about skiing. You're talking about golf. Now, these are two sports that have been on a precipitous decline for the last number of years. So, folks that are in those industries, this could be a very good sign that you might have an opportunity now to win over long-term guests for the future to build your business in both golf and skiing. Do you think there's opportunity there for you, Bill?
Yeah, I do. And I think actually for the future, what we're also seeing is that there's going to be a new generation of people who are participating in those sports because they cannot participate in the sports that they normally would. I actually think the next generation of professional golfers is going to be fascinating to watch, because all of the high school kids who would normally be playing baseball, be playing football, all the sports that they cannot play, they don't just stop. They need an outlet for the competitive spirits. And golf is one of the few sports that's still going. So suddenly the quarterback who thought golf was a joke sport is now playing 3 times a week and realizing I like it and I'm pretty good at it. So I think we're going to see people coming to various activities, not just sporting activities, that may not have considered them before. And that will be good.
Bowling's making a comeback. I could see it now. Wearing mask and bowl. But it's
outdoor bowling, maybe.
I played indoor. Put the mask on. There's bowling alleys up in New York. I play softball in the summer. I couldn't play softball this summer, so I worked out more and I played a little bit of golf. And I don't really play golf. Matter of fact, I was on the golf course the other day, just a pitch and putt golf. No, actually a driving range. And my friend looked at me. He goes, You play a lot of golf? I said, not really. He goes, I know. I go, why do you know? He said, because you have a starter kit golf set. I go, how do you know it's a starter kit golf, starter kit golf set? And he said, because I got it for my 9-year-old. That's how much I golf.
Behaviors for sure will and have changed. Some will revert and some will stay changed forever. And I know it might sound weird to say things like, let's look for pandemic positives. Because it's
not weird. That's what we try to do here every day, Bill.
Yeah, and look, there are some. I think one of the most interesting things that's happened, and I've certainly enjoyed being a recipient as well as a contributor, is so many people who found themselves unable to do what they do for a living started to do that for a giving. You had chefs all over the world that you would normally have to pay $200 to join masterclass on their Instagram accounts, sharing their favorite recipes and doing cooking lessons to follow through. You had every professional golfer in their backyard doing golf tips. And across the board, I think what the pandemic has done is to unleash a generosity of spirit and a connection that I hope remains in place. I mean, when I look at our industry, I think the days of not sharing our knowledge with people are gone anyway. It used to be that you would walk into a restaurant, have a great meal, say to the waiter, that's amazing. Do you think I could get the recipe for that dish? They turn white. They walk into the kitchen. You hear profanity. They come back and say, sorry, but the chef said it's been in his family as a secret for generations. What I want to see happen is when our guests pay us the compliment of saying, how could I recreate this in my own home for my own family and my own friends? The answer should not only be, here's the recipe, but why don't you let us know what time you'll be doing it? Chef will get on FaceTime and will help you do it for the first time.
Yeah,
so as an industry, we need to stay connected. We need to stay present. We need to stay generous with all of our stakeholders.
I think that's so important. And one of the things by you being on the show and us doing the show, that's our way of kind of giving golf tips, right? Our way is to bring the best and brightest on the show. And I think the generosity of spirit, I see it. I was in Vegas and I already saw it in Vegas where people are a little bit more, there's a sense of being more humble and quieter. I know I am, I've always tried to be humble. And I'm not a quiet guy, but I've sensed myself being just more in the moment and more like if somebody brought me a drink, like I literally made sure I made eye contact and said, I truly appreciate you being here. And I truly appreciate you bringing me this drink. Thank you very much. And try to start a little conversation. And I will also say, I felt very safe in Vegas. Everybody was wearing a mask. Everybody was doing the right thing. I guess there's parts of Vegas where if you don't want to do the right thing, you won't do the right thing. But what I saw in the hotel specifically, I felt 100% comfortable.
Yeah. And look, I mean, saying thank you is how our mothers brought us up. You say please and you say thank you. And everything that happens in between those two things is somewhat secondary to doing those two things. And again, as an industry, we have the opportunity to do that now. We have the opportunity to say thank you to our colleagues who are doing extraordinary things and who are courageous. And just as you said, Anthony, the act of showing up, of being present is itself a demonstration of courage. And then say thank you to others. I mean, we at Viceroy have a program called Contribution Without Compromise. We want to be able to allow our guests to express their appreciation and their gratitude and to make a contribution to others, but in the easiest way possible. So for us, it's as easy as showing up and checking in. Every time a room is checked into at a Viceroy Hotel or resort, that triggers the availability of one more room at a 50% discount available to somebody in the healthcare profession. So to those healthcare heroes, you've been on the front line. You've been doing what you have done to keep us safe. You've left your home so that we could stay in ours. We as an industry and on behalf of our guests want to say thank you. But it's not about saying to the guest, hey, can we put 5% on the check? Or will you put money in this jar? It's saying just by the act of travel, you're enabling travel for somebody who probably needs it more than any of us at the moment.
Could you please repeat the name of that program? It's such a great idea.
Contribution Without Compromise.
Excellent. I love that.
It was actually an idea that my son Finley came up with.
Is this the one who gets standing ovations at TEDx events when you don't?
Exactly. So he did a TEDx talk about 18 months ago about the future of education and the fact that of kids going into grade school today, it's estimated that up to 65% of them will at one point in their careers have an opportunity to work in a job that has not yet been invented.
Wow.
And whether or not education is preparing them. And Chris Hartley at the GHA, the Global Hotel Alliance, saw his talk and said, look, at our next CEO meeting for the GHA, would Finlay adapt his talk and talk about Gen Z as the future customers and how they will see travel and what changes are going to need to be made? And he made this point and he said, my generation wants to contribute. My generation wants to know that there is purpose and that we can make a contribution, but we want to do it in the easiest way possible. We want contribution without compromise. He said, let me put it this way. We're going to want to save the world, but we're going to want to do it from an infinity pool sipping a mojito. So we thought, how at this moment can we create a program that recognizes and contributes to those incredible healthcare professionals and make it as easy as possible from our guests. So
how old's your son? How old's your son?
17.
Wow. That's absolutely crazy. And we have to remember to go back to what you said about healthcare professionals. Now we're kind of starting to see, hopefully, a vaccine, the light or whatever, but we didn't know what this disease was about. And because so many people, especially in New York, passed away, that it was just overwhelming to an extent that I've never experienced before. Mm-hmm. These healthcare workers, we didn't know by touching a button. We didn't know if they walked past somebody. We didn't know. We thought we were all going to die just by simply being in another person's space. And these people went in with a thin cloth mask when they didn't have the right PPE. And I talked to a doctor friend of mine, and he said to me, I'll never forget this as long as I live. I said, I talked to him every single day, and he was on the front lines. He's an anesthesiologist. So he was literally putting people on ventilators and opening up airways. And he was there every day. And I said, how do you feel? He said, I'm scared. I said, what are you scared of? He says, because I need the right PPE. I said, if you had the right PPE, he goes, I go in there like a superhero going, give me all your sick patients. He goes, that's my job. That's what I live for. That's why I took an oath. He goes, that's what I love being on the front lines and helping people. He said, but it's a little disconcerting when you don't have the right. So let's look at him not now. Okay. Let's look at them 6 months ago when they were literally in a war zone.
Yeah. I think, Anthony, look, the reality is, when you live in the comfort of a moment, when it's comfortable to be in a moment, usually that comfort you enjoy has been brought about by the courage of others in the moments that came before. And this is one of those moments. Look, I'm going to be making a business trip this week, and it's crazy. I haven't been doing any. I'm heading to Washington, D.C. tomorrow on Thursday, and we're going to open a brand new hotel in Washington, D.C. called Hotel Xena. And what Xena is it's a bold new hotel. It's a sanctuary that celebrates female empowerment through provocative art and design. It's a hotel whose purpose is to recognize the courage and the contribution of incredible women throughout the ages who fought for gender equality, for the right to vote, and many, many other topics. And when we come out of this pandemic, in the same way that we're using Hotel Xena to look back and not forget how difficult the journey was, still is in some respects, and the contribution that those incredible women made. When the vaccine is found, we still have to remember the contribution those healthcare heroes made, and not just forget it, live in that comfortable moment and move forward. I think we should have something in, contribution without compromise will not just be a pandemic thing. I'm going to say thank you to those healthcare folks for the rest of forever.
Yeah, I do. I love
the concept of that hotel. I think that is an absolute brilliant concept, and I haven't seen that before, and I can't wait. Hopefully, our producer can pull it up. I can't wait to see.
Got it. Boom, right there.
Is he good? Or is he good? So,
yeah, right.
So that's obviously a guest room. Beautiful.
Yeah, the public spaces is where the amazing art is. So, I mean, the lobby features art. We've got a portrait wall recognizing the contributions of so many women: Rosa Parks, Hedy Lamarr, you name it. There's a signature portrait in the lobby of the late Supreme Court Justice Ginsburg, which was planned before she sadly passed away. And I'm not going to give away its composition, but it's something that I've never seen. This is an actual mural on the outside of the building. The guardians of the four directions, we call them. by a DC artist called Miss Chalov, and we have our sequin wall where we have 8,000 hand-painted protest buttons echoing the phraseology of the women's marches, of the protests that used to take place. We have an area in the hotel where we have blown up life-size pictures from those women's marches, and you can go in, it wraps around, take the selfie as if you were there to show your solidarity to
wow.
It's going to be,
It gives me chills.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just a little insight for people who didn't realize Hedy Lamarr was more than a silent screen actress. She's actually helped co-invent a technology. Right. She helped co-invent a technology that created basically wireless communications of.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that
so amazing?
I mean,
yeah.
When we were looking into this and working on this with the team, with John Bortz and his team at Pebblebrook over the last couple of years, I mean, Hedy Lamarr, we all thought that she was just this kind of pigeonhole character. And when we learned of her contribution, when we learned of the impediments to making those contributions, we not only thought we'd recognize her, we've named the rooftop bar Hedy's in tribute.
Oh, nice. I love it. I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go. My daughters will love that hotel. I can tell you that.
All right, so you mentioned kind of in passing, and I thought it was important to bring up GHA, the Global Hotel Alliance. And why I think they're really important is it gives independent hotel companies such as yours opportunity to create loyalty programs and do marketing programs and all of that sort of stuff alongside other brands such as Nikki Beach and Capella and I'm forgetting some of the others. Thon Hotels, Leela Hotels.
And is that something Pebblebrook created?
No. The Hotel Xena, yes. The GHA.
Okay.
GHA is an alliance that has been inspired by the airline alliances, in particular the Star Alliance. And we're all familiar with those alliance networks in airline, you have the card that gives you recognition, not only in the airline where you built your status, but across the network. And we thought, how cool would it be for small, proud, independent brands to have something similar? So I think it's about 29 brands.
Yep.
We're global. And the way it works, guys, is very simple. We have a recognition program called Discovery. Let's imagine that there's a guest in Berlin in Germany who is a very frequent user of Kempinski hotels, and through their frequency achieves the black card, which is the highest status. They find themselves having to come to Los Angeles. They don't normally come here. They don't have a relationship for frequency and recognition with any hospitality company here, but they check into Viceroy L'Hermitage or Viceroy Santa Monica. They show the card, and we welcome them back, even though it's their first time. We give them the same recognition, immediate benefits, upgrades, late checkouts, whatever it might be, even though they've never touched our company before, just because we are in an alliance with Kempinski and all of those other brands.
Yeah, I really love what that does, because it puts you on equal footing, therefore, with a lot of the larger companies that have that infrastructure in place.
And it's been a long time coming. It has been such a long time coming. It's such an important.
We have 16 million members in the Discovery program right now, and it's very activated. It's very vibrant, and it works.
I love the idea that if I'm a Viceroy customer, I could go to that dream trip of a lifetime to India, stay in the Leela Palace, for example, and be treated the same way as I am in your hotels. Yeah. Great idea, and helps get your marketing dollars a lot farther, while also creating inroads for new customer base as well.
Right. And it shows, especially in the softer brands, it shows that value, because I think what's going to come out of this for our industry is those brands that everybody knows, the Marriotts, the Hiltons. They're going to have a real difficult time keeping a lot of hoteliers buying their brand, because they're going to have a lot less corporate team, and they're going to have a lot less to really help you with if they're not listening to their customer, and their customer is the owner of the hotel. So I think that there's going to be a day of reckoning that's coming here soon, and these kind of programs really help brands like you really do more.
Yeah, they do. And it's not just on the loyalty and recognition. It's about collaboration. And I think collaboration is extremely important, particularly for smaller companies. You know, when my mom was bringing me up in Limerick, in Ireland, she drilled into me You can tell the character of an individual by the company that they keep. And I love the company that Viceroy keeps in GHA. And I mentioned earlier, we should have the courage to ask for help. Well, on multiple occasions during this pandemic, when we're facing something that we're all facing for the first time, it's been so wonderful to have had a community of peers in those GHA member brands that I could pick up the
Fascinating.
phone and I could say, I don't know what to do. I think I might know what to do, but this is what we're doing. What are you doing? Share best practice, share our mistakes. It's being part of a family and in times of crisis.
Could you tell us a good story about how you've all helped each other get through this?
Like one specific question or?
Yeah, one specific thing that you've learned or helped someone with?
Yeah, I mean, what we've done at the beginning was we all shared the operating practices that we needed to change. So as we were all going through, and we all had teams working on what contactless check-in would look like, what should we do in terms of approach to housekeeping, what does room service need to be in this new world, we realized that we were all doing it at the same time, independently.
Right.
And we collaborated on that. We shared those best practices. And then we came back and talked about it. And we talked about the assumptions that were wrong. And some of them now are so obvious. We all said, look, we don't need valet parking when we reopen our hotels because customers won't want people getting in their car, contaminating them. And then we opened resorts, and then guests came back who'd been stuck in their homes for 4.5, 5 months at that time, got out of the car, left the door open and said, why is nobody parking my car? Well, we didn't think you'd want it. They're like, dude, I've been looking forward to this weekend so much. I want you to park my car. I do not want you to knock and drop my room service by leaving a bag with a sandwich in it outside. Bring it in, set me up. I deserve this. So
fascinating.
Our guests want, what we learned and shared within GHA was our guests want to feel confident. They want to feel safe. They want to know that the protocols around cleanliness have been put in place and that they're being adhered to. But that doesn't mean they don't want luxury. Anthony, I often say at orientation, in this industry for 30 years, I've never met a guest once whose intention on coming to a hotel was to be bored. We have to entertain. We have to create content for them. Now, I can also say, I've never met a guest whose intention on coming to a luxury hotel was to check into a clinic or a hospital. That's not what they're expecting us to do. They want us to be cautious. They want us to be appropriate, but they still want and deserve those memories that should last them for a lifetime. And we mustn't abdicate. And, if there's anybody watching or listening who's sat in a room thinking, what expense can I eliminate from the business covered by the pandemic, but I'm actually just reducing cost?
Right.
And that's not, I think, where we should be right now. We should be saying, how can we give the greatest experience to our guests we've ever given in the most appropriate way?
I can't, I cannot agree more. And it almost brings tears to my eyes. I got chills listening to you because I had that experience at the Sky Suites. I talked about last week at the Sky Suites.
That Aria.
At the Aria in Vegas. That I walked in, everyone had their mask on. Everyone helped me like they normally do. Everybody was sweet and wonderful and lovely. But the plexiglass was up. Everything was done appropriately. But I literally was looking for the flowers because they do flowers great. Them and the Sofitel, I think, do great flowers. So I walk in and they had this beautiful, just unbelievable flower arrangement. And then I walk into the little lounge that you get when you stay at the Sky Suites. And I was like, if I don't see sandwiches and sodas and I don't see things set up, I'm going to be a little disappointed. And they had all the sandwiches. They had everything I expect, but they had them individual. And each little sandwich had a little cover on it that you had to open up. So I sat there and I had 37,000 sandwiches because they're this big. And I opened up the little containers and I ate my sandwiches. I sat in the lounge and I social distanced and I felt I was taken care of. I ordered room service for breakfast. The gentleman asked me if I wanted him to come in my room and set it up. And I said, no, I was actually late for a meeting. I was like, no, I'm good. Just please wheel it in. I'll sign the check. I thanked him, whatever. He was so disappointed. I mean, I gave him a bigger tip just if he would have set it up. I gave him a good tip. But he was so the look in his eye was like, no, please let me set it up. Like I want to set it. It's what I do. And I didn't because I just didn't have the time for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was fabulous. I thought my Vegas experience was absolutely perfect.
And so it should be. And in these times, look, when people face difficulty, what I find, particularly people who go to luxury hotels, they compromise on frequency. They do not compromise on quality. And they see through it in a heartbeat if you're eliminating quality to try to save costs. So some of those luxury services, which we can deliver if we're thoughtful and if we challenge ourselves to come up with alternative delivery mechanisms. But when we don't do that, we just say, let's stop doing it. It's lazy. Now, there are certain things perhaps we should stop doing, but what is at the heart of a luxury experience is making a guest feel cared for, feel recognized, and feel welcomed. And we have to keep doing that. Look, restaurants have reopened. If I went to a restaurant and I ordered a filet mignon, which is normally, let's say, an 8-ounce piece of meat, and they hand me a 5-ounce steak, and I say, why have you taken away 30% of the value? And they say, because of COVID, I'm not going to be happy. So why is it okay for us to do that by removing and eliminating services that the guest expects?
And I also think that I've already gotten on a plane. I already traveled to your hotel. I've already told you I'm a customer that's willing to travel and willing to make myself safe, wear my mask, social distance, do all the right things. Now I expect you to do your job. And if I didn't want somebody to park my car, I wouldn't have opened the door and I wouldn't have put it in Valley Park. If like I didn't want that room service tray to come in simply because I didn't have time, but I normally would say, please come set it up while I'm doing something else. I've already made that decision as a traveler that I am going to take, unfortunately I hate to say it, but as we're all traveling around, we're taking chances, but we're taking educated chances. I am not like, I'll give you another example. I was invited to a dinner at the Wynn Hotel at Sinatra's, and it's one of my favorite restaurants. And I said, I'll sit outside if you guys are sitting outside. They made it happen. We sat outside. We social distanced the table. It was maybe not 8 feet, but it was 6 feet. But it was fine where I was comfortable. I was around people that I knew, and I was very comfortable. It was the first sit-down meal I've had with anybody outside of Glenn or my family. And I felt very, very comfortable. And it was there. It was provided. And they did something that I thought was phenomenal. They had at the Wynn Hotel, everyone has a name tag with a picture on it. So I can see the person's face who's delivering the service. And I thought that was phenomenal because the young lady and the young man that were helping us, I thought looked completely different than what their picture showed. And I thought that was absolutely made me happy. It made me like, I felt normal.
Well, that's another pandemic positive, Anthony. Some of us are actually better looking with a mask on.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So,
one other thing, if I may, because I know we're getting to the end, and I want to make sure that I say this to industry colleagues who are watching and listening. The other thing, in addition to not cutting out, but actually redefining, is what we need to do in luxury. The people that are traveling at the moment have the confidence and the courage to travel, and they're not traveling based on a $10 difference in average rate. Let's not race to the bottom. To all of those extraordinary revenue management colleagues who are watching and listening, stand strong, stand proud. This is not the time for us to create further damage to the industry by unnecessarily tanking rates and cannibalizing each other in market. Let's maintain, let's charge confidently, but then give generously and use maintaining rate integrity to reinvest into finding alternative ways to deliver luxury service that will make people feel comfortable and confident.
And listen, everyone has a product. So if I'm a person, like I stay at Holiday Inn Express when I travel for business, but I like luxury when I travel for holiday. So if you start bringing a consumer that is maybe a 3-star consumer into a 5-star luxury resort that normally is not used to that accommodation, I've seen it. I've seen it recently. They don't know how to act. And it just brings, like, they're uncomfortable and the environment is uncomfortable. And now I'm not saying that if you can't afford it and you want to go to a 5-star hotel, I'm not saying, of course. But what I'm saying is, like, there are plenty of options for everyone. And the second you tank the rate, then you're putting a completely different spin on what we do in luxury or what you do in 3-star. I've run 3-star hotels and I've run 3-star hotels like 5-star hotels. Yeah. And so if I go to a 5-star hotel today and you're charging me $200, I'm probably not going to go back simply because it's like, what are you taking away from me? Like if I'm paying 500 at the normal rate, I'm like, okay, everything's going to be there. And if it's not there, you're going to communicate to me the expectation of why it's not there before I show up.
Right. So, Bill, I do have good news for you. When I attend the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference, they just opened up the room block at the Atlanta Marriott Marquis, and they're asking for $230 a night. That's pretty much on par with what people were supposed to pay this year, and I probably even more than the year before that. So I found that as an encouraging sign. Another encouraging sign I found, Bill, was that according to a brand new survey by Forbes Travel Guide, 54% of hoteliers in the luxury market say the worst of COVID is definitely behind us. That's good news. You're a very positive guy. What is the one thing that you're taking away from this that you feel that you can improve your business going forward and take advantage of potential opportunities that might not be evident, but are absolutely there?
Well, two ways very briefly to answer that, and both I'm going to link to a letter of the alphabet. One, we need to, as an industry, maintain our absolute allergy to the F word. Now, the F word that I'm referencing is not the one that everybody has in their mind at the moment. It's the word fine, right? Let's not do fine. Let's continue to do amazing, outstanding, incredible, memorable, extraordinary, because that's our job. That's what we're here to do. And we can't hide behind COVID and allow ourselves to get complacent and to allow standards to slip. And also, I want people to continue to focus on the P word. And the P word is not profit. Yes, it's important and it will come, but I want people to focus on pride. You know, one of the things I often think about and talk about is the stupidity of my title as a leader in this business, being a chief executive officer. It doesn't mean anything. It's not action focused. Mm-hmm. It's not real. So I think of myself, I want everybody watching, irrespective of your job title for your day job, I want all of us to become chief pride officers. And our purpose is to make people proud. And if our colleagues are proud, they will feel confident, absenteeism decreases, productivity increases, and it's a good place to be. If our guests are feeling proud, they'll come back, they'll tell others, and we'll finally be able to get this juggernaut that travel is back on the road. So stay strong, stay positive, stay proud, and good things will return.
Beautiful. I love that, Bill. How about a good shameless plug for Viceroy and telling people how they can stay with you?
ViceroyHotelsandResorts.com. Come check us out at Hotel Zena. I'm so excited for this hotel this week, but I'd just like to say to all of my colleagues across the Viceroy portfolio, whether you're in a resort in Los Cabos, St. Lucia, Snowmass, San Francisco, Los Angeles, in Mexico, elsewhere, wherever you are, thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for doing what you do. I'm humbled to be part of this Viceroy family. I'm proud to lead us through these circumstances. I'm shoulder to shoulder with every individual. Stay safe, stay well, stay with your families, talk to each other, take care of your mental as well as physical health, love those around you. You know, my son, Lucas, my eldest son, is 19. He's in Dublin in Ireland in his second year of college at Trinity, and I miss him so much. And to have family distant from us at times like this makes it even harder. So stay connected, tell the truth, ask for help, and we'll get through this. We will.
That's awesome.
Bill, one of the words that comes to mind when I'm listening to you is transparent. Like you jumped out of your seat like a 5-year-old when you talked about your new hotel. And you talked about, you know, asking for help, and you're a kid in a candy store that likes the candy. And that is what we need with people in your positions. So after COVID, I'm going to be your warm-up guy. Okay.
Bless Anthony, here's what I believe in. If you're going to do something like this, do it honestly. But in life, and you will know this when you're standing on stage, both of you guys, you're amazing speakers. The best speakers to listen to are those where you know they are hearing the words at the same time the audience is hearing the words. Mm-hmm. And if you're speaking in real time, sometimes it goes wrong. I mean, you've been there, I'm sure, Anthony. You're talking to an audience, you hear yourself say something you weren't expecting. Your inner voice is going, dude, where are we going with this? How are we going to get out of this?
Oh, I've been there. I've been there. So you know what? And you know what? Being transparent, you know what I do? I say, what the hell am I talking about? And I go back to what, I say, can somebody help me out? What the hell was
That's
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, Bill. It's an honor. And I just will say our booking of this show was kind of wrong because we should be at the new hotel in Washington to give us an excuse to be on the road. Glenn, what happened?
Let's get down there. I think we're going to be going down to the Washington area in the beginning of November. So maybe we just stay a few days and hop around for a few different places. Maybe one of the other major brand CEOs will actually come on and talk to us, which would be great. Bill, you're a true inspiration, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
I really appreciate it.
Absolute honor.
Take care. What was I thinking waiting so long to get him back on the show? I cannot believe it. He should have been here early on as we were dealing with this crisis.
I can't imagine that me and him haven't really seen each other or met each other because we're fans of each other. So it was great to have him on. And I misquoted. I said something. I say I never say anything I regret on this show or ever. Yep. I really don't. I said something that may be misconstrued. Okay, when I said if you're a 3-star guest, you don't understand what a 5-star. I didn't mean that. What I meant is that you have to keep your rate integrity. And if you want that 5-star experience, it's got to be a full 5-star experience. So please, no one misquote me. That's not what I meant. Also, let's go back to Mr. Ergang's.
Let's apologize right there. Boom.
Yeah, let's give him some love because apparently, now I know I've given him all the credit in the world for hospitality success, Hospitality Strong. I know I've said it many, many times. I said it on webinars with Scal. So I guess on Friday or whenever it was, we did not mention Mark, but Mark, of course, you're a big part of it. You were basically the person that started it all with me and Mark, the other Mark. So thank you very much. And so if we were amiss in your name, saying your name, I apologize. Marky Mark.
All right. Gang's part of our gang here, helping out people be successful.
I want to know how your hotels are doing out at JFK when they're opening up. So we got to find out when that's happening. I saw the construction the other day. Oh, my God. I passed LaGuardia the other day. Did you see those beautiful terminals?
I'm excited that the Delta terminal is finally vertical and starting to come together. But the brand new terminal, I haven't been in there yet. I've only seen stuff online. Oh, my God. Turning a third world airport into a world-class destination.
I will tell you something what really hit me. My friend and driver that drives me to the airports, I said to Robinson, I said, Robinson, can you take me to the airport? And he goes, great, whatever. So I saw him, hugged him, whatever. So he takes me to the airport. And I said, how many times have you been to the airport this week? And he goes, including your ride? I said, yeah. He goes, I've been to the airport 5 times. I go, oh, what, today, this week? He goes, no, since March. Now, this is a man that went to the airports, all New York City airports, because he owns his own company, 5 to 8 times a day. He has not been to the airports more than 5 or 6 times since March. Wow, that number hit me. Of all the numbers that are out there, because Robinson's is the guy that everybody knows in New York that like 4 o'clock in the morning he picks you up, 3 o'clock in the morning he'll take your call and he picks you up. It literally blew my brains out.
Yeah, that's
anyway. It was a good guest today. Like your studio. I'd like one shot of your studio. I'd like you to walk away so I can see it again. Show the audience how hard you've worked.
Oh, sorry.
That is a beautiful graphic. He's putting in lighting. He's putting in a green wall. He's really doing it. He's making us look good. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. We're trying over here. And again, guys, if you want to be featured on the big green wall, drop us a line, glenn@rouse.media, and we're going to feature a different hotel every single day. You've seen I've been trying to do that, mix it up a little bit. Why not have it be yours? And while you're doing stuff, sign up for our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 66866. Like us on Facebook, follow us on LinkedIn, and all of that kind of good stuff. Anthony, any final thoughts about hospitality success?
Hospitality success this Thursday. We're going to break it down, and I'm actually going to show you on Facebook our new handbook. We just Denny, it was amazing. She works with us and she put together this it's our handbook, but she just did a great job with the graphics, and I got it this weekend over the weekend, and it's absolutely beautiful. So we'll be showing the handbook. Hospitality success. If you need our help, you need our consulting. Thursdays, every Thursday, 3 o'clock, we break down a hotel impossible episode, and we tell you kind of how to solve your problems. We don't solve them for you. We help you solve them. You solve them. We teach you how to solve them. Your biggest problem, Glenn, is you're still hanging out with me.
I hear about it every single day. But I'm going to keep making that same mistake here every day at noon, and I'm looking forward to it, Anthony.
Yeah, and thank you guys for a great show last week in Vegas. And David, our producer, thanks for a great show today. I mean, you were really, I saw you really flying behind the scenes and getting all those graphics up without us being prepared for some of them. And you did a great job. So thank you, David, as always. All right, take us out.
Yeah, tomorrow, Dr. Aaron Berman from the National Institute of Mental Health talking about strategies to help keep us all mentally sane in this extremely difficult time. And it all goes into the whole idea. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
take care of yourself and be kind to yourself.